This is fritghened, the immigration barrister at Imperium Chambers. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any immigration problem whatsoever, please get in touch with me and I'll provide you with honest advice and do whatever I can to help you. More disturbing news today, as the government is effectively proposing ignoring, if not withdrawing in reality, from the European Convention on Human Rights. It is therefore vital that if you're in the United Kingdom without leave to remain, that you seek legal advice as soon as possible before any of these changes come in, as there are many people who I've seen who do have valid claims for leave to remain and who I get visas for, but they generally tend to be too frightened to actually come forward, probably because of all the things they see on the television and all the newspapers. This is particularly disturbing news as it shows a dramatic shift to the right, pandering to the right wing. And obviously, given the disastrous results in the two by-elections, the government, or at least Boris Johnson, will be running scared. Indeed, as usual, when there is a problem, he is never to be seen. This time, rather than returning to the UK to address what must be a crisis in his government, he is sunning it up in, of all countries, Rwanda. What makes it even more amusing in a somewhat dark way is that he is attending the Commonwealth Summit in Rwanda, whilst at the same time Priti Patel is making it far more difficult for those from the Commonwealth to come to the United Kingdom. Nice one, Boris. On another level, his actions make a mockery of his desire to be seen as the 21st century's answer to Churchill. If you just listen to him, he talks and huffs and puffs as if he was Churchill. However, it was Churchill that actually proposed the creation of the Echr, and most of it was written by a British barrister, something he doesn't really talk about. If I had to compare him to any recent politician, it would be Mussolini, on the basis that both of them were rampant opportunists, and both of them led their countries to disasters in various ways. The reason for this change results from the following order from the European Court of Human Rights, which stopped the plane taking asylum seekers to Rwanda. Now, rather than look at the legality and morality of the removals, the UK government seems to have taken it as a direct threat to their sovereignty. Even though the ECR's decision was a source of relief for a lot of people, it has obviously had an adverse negative effect in the UK government's point of view regarding its implementation of Echr in respect of the UK's jurisdiction. The reason I'm making this video, which I consider to be a crucial video, is to keep people informed about the proposed plans, which I consider to be quite terrifying, that this government has in relation to implementation of human rights law. The Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Dominic Raab, has made has made the initiative to abolish the Human Rights Act, which would give essentially deprive citizens of the right of going to the Echr or getting an effective remedy. The abolition of the Human Rights Act and additionally reducing the influence of the European Court of Human Rights has been introduced before Parliament and has been portrayed as an attempt to reinstate Britain's lost sovereignty. The truth is, it's never been lost. The decisions from the Echr are not binding. In my personal opinion, I'm sure this would be agreed by fellow practitioners who are part of the legal fraternity, that this government is methodically crumbling the people's rights in an attempt to make itself untouchable by being questioned in the courts, not only in the UK but internationally. One only has to look at what the government is trying to do with the Northern Ireland Peace Agreement and the Northern Ireland Protocol. I find it particularly troubling that the UK is prepared to injure the respect for the Echr on the basis of a single judgment. The government is overlooking the various landmark decisions that this court has taken, which has provided an umbrella protection for human rights in the United Kingdom for some decades now. What the government intends to do is to substitute the existing Human Rights Act with their own bill. The government has also indicated that the bill will make it explicit that interim measures from the Echr will not stop removal of asylum seekers. As I mentioned, decisions from the Echr are not binding, but they are followed by the UK government. Sovereignty has not been surrendered, as the Tories would like to say. In my view, the government has revealed its yet further its true intentions and future plans surrounding the implementations of the Human Rights Act. And therefore, in the light of all of this and some of the recent changes which are clearly hostile to migrants, I would urge anyone that has any unsettled status in the United Kingdom to get some advice as soon as possible. And you may find that you have a very valid application you can make, and it may be that you can stay in the United Kingdom lawfully, or you're entitled to stay in the United Kingdom lawfully. So it is vital that you get proper advice, because if you don't and you sit there and the government passes this legislation, it will be far, far harder for individuals to be able to rely on the ECHR to make out a claim. Indeed, I've been doing this for so long, I can remember what the law was like before the implementation of the Human Rights Act on the 2nd of October 2000. And it was far harder to make out claims based on family life. Article 3 was different, but it was a lot harder. In fact, it was pretty much impossible to make out claims based on family life prior to the implementation of Article 8 into a domestic law. Something that an awful lot of people have forgotten. But if this happens, then it will really come back to bite people. And the way to avoid that is to seek advice as soon as possible and to act as soon as possible. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is a stark warning of where the government is going. It is up to you whether you wish to act or whether you wish to sit there. If I was in a position where I didn't know what my rights were, I would want to get them clarified as soon as possible and do what I can do for myself and potentially my family. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please stay safe, please look after yourselves, and please keep tuning in and also subscribe. Thank you again. This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers.